Good evening and welcome to Different Perspectives. I'm Paul Ndiho in Washington. Tonight, Zimbabwe is facing one of the most consequential constitutional battles since 2013. On February 10th, 2026, the Cabinet approved the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3. The bill proposes major changes, ending the direct popular vote or universal suffrage for president, replacing it with a parliamentary selection system, extending presidential and parliamentary terms from 5 to 7 years. If enacted, the changes could allow President Emerson Mnangagwa, the incumbent, to remain in office until at least 2030. Now, 6 Liberation War veterans have filed a High Court challenge to block the bill. Constitutional lawyer Lavamoa Manduku leads the legal team. Government officials insist the reforms are about stability and policy accountability. Although critics argue that the move weakens the democratic safeguards of the 2013 Constitution, and tonight we are going to bring you both perspectives. I have two distinguished guests with me here in studio who are joining me live, and let me introduce them shortly to you. They are going to share their perspectives. They represent two different political parties. One of the guests is from the ruling party, and another one is from the Diaspora and a critic of the ruling party. So let me introduce my guests. Joining me from London is Dr. Masimba Mavaza, a ZANU PF member and a legal expert, and from the Diaspora community, Tawanda Dzvokora, or commonly known as Chief Svosve, an opposition activist and a critic of the ruling party. Gentlemen, welcome to Different Perspectives.
Welcome, Zimbabwe.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Thank
Paul.
you for having
welcome, Chief Svosve.
So this is going to be an interesting debate. At least I'm glad to have you, Chief Svosve, for the first time. How are you, sir?
I am all right. And you?
I'm terrific. Thank you so much. So let me start with you. The government is proposing these amendments to the Constitution. The very government is the one that came up with the Constitution, the current Constitution, in 2013. Your thoughts on the amendments, then maybe after we do that, I'll ask you one of the most what everybody is talking about right now. Let's start by you getting a reaction, at least from your perspective as an opposition leader.
So, to begin with, we have a government that was never elected by the people of Zimbabwe, that rigged elections and installed a president. It looks like I'm having some feedback.
I don't know, this side is quite, I'm not sure your side.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay. So we have a president who was never voted in by the people of Zimbabwe. They rigged the elections. This was said by SADC, international community, and other regional organizations. They agreed with the people of Zimbabwe that the elections had been rigged. Fast forward, that same president who has already served his 2 terms plus, the same president who has impoverished Zimbabwe, the same president who has not done anything meaningful in the past 2 terms that he has served Zimbabwe, the same president who has allowed Zimbabwe to be one of the poorest countries in the world. It's there on internet. The people of Zimbabwe are the most suffering, and also the same president who has made Zimbabwe the land of corruption. We have seen massive corruption as was seen in the international media. We are losing billions of dollars through corruption. That same president is now wanting to extend his term. And if he wanted to extend his term legally, the people of Zimbabwe would have been okay. But he is trying to circumvent the will of the people. He is trying to run away from consulting the people of Zimbabwe as is enshrined in the Zimbabwean constitution. For any constitutional amendment that affect the term limits of a president, that amendment should be taken to a referendum, not one referendum, but two referendums. But as we heard from the Minister of Justice, ZANU-PF is not intending to take this through to a referendum. Why? Because they know that the people of Zimbabwe are against what they are trying to do. They also know that they will lose that referendum because the people of Zimbabwe do not want the current ZANU-PF government, do not want the illegal ZANU-PF president who is currently there. So that's the reason why you're seeing the outcry from the people of Zimbabwe. People are speaking out. The youth were speaking out today. We're with them. Everyone is speaking out against these constitutional amendments, including ZANU-PF members. We say rest in peace, Comrade Geza. He was a ZANU-PF Central Committee member, and he was one person who was vocal against these constitutional amendments. So even now here, the opposition, the people of Zimbabwe, those in the diaspora, and those in Zimbabwe are totally against what is about to be done, because what ZANU-PF is doing is simply undermining the will of the people and also shredding to pieces the constitution of Zimbabwe.
Okay, very well said. Dr. Mavaza, your colleague is saying that the ruling party, the party that you represent, is trying to come up with creative ways of changing the constitution. If I might borrow his words, he's saying that you're trying to circumvent the constitution that put this very government in place to change the constitution without going through the people, without seeking the mandate of the people. I want to get your reaction.
Thank you very much. The first thing you need to appreciate is that what is happening in Zimbabwe now, in regard to this amendment, constitutional amendment, it is totally constitutional and democratic. It is democracy in action. Yes, people expected to have a referendum. Referendums are done, it's a mandate, it's a constitutional requirement for a mandate if we are changing the constitution, especially on the term of office. But the argument, or what the court, or what ZANU-PF has been saying all along, we are saying we are not seeking to amend the presidential term. We are simply seeking to amend the election period, to move it from 2028 to 2030. That does not move the term. It does not amend the constitutional term. So if we're going to amend the term of office of the president, then it will go to the referendum. So in other words, the reason why, the reason why we have judges in every judicial system is because the law is like an ass. Some would ride it, some would use it to pull their things to the grinding mill. Anybody can use his donkey the way he finds fit. But we need a judge who would then interpret the use of such a donkey. So the law is like a donkey. It can be used according to the way and the road available to it. So what ZANU-PF is doing now is saying we have an option of changing or amending this section without going through the referendum. So now the good thing is we've had about 6 war veterans who have challenged that and say, no, it cannot be done. We need to go to the referendum. Yes, on the face of it, it looks like we cannot change the constitution without the referendum. But when you look deeper, because the law is not only the cosmetic looks we look at, we look deeper beyond the face mask. We look deeper into the heart of the law. And the heart of the law may, if the judges look at it, may even be saying to us, we can amend, we can adjust the constitution without going to the referendum. The referendum would only be needed when we are actually changing the term permanently. So extending the election date from 2028 to 2030 is not changing increasing the term of the president. It's simply adjusting the date. But now, assuming we are going to change the term or the presidential term or increase it, I can borrow the words of ZANU PF spokesperson, Comrade Mutsvangwa, yesterday. He said, Comrade Chris Mutsvangwa said, the changing of or the amendment of the constitution to increase the term of the president is a personal decision which will be made by the president himself. He had said clearly that the president has understood and he knows the problem of aging in office because he had worked under an aging president for a long time. Mchangwa says yesterday, President Mnangagwa understands the dangers the country faces if a president stays longer in office and his age is not going down, it's going up. It means everything around him it becomes a risk. And that's what the spokesperson of the party said yesterday. These are not my words. But I'm saying when you look at that, Comrade Kisim Twanga, not being a lawyer, he understood the implications of political overstaying in office. So, looking at that understanding, we then have to look as Zimbabweans now, is wherever we are, that indeed, yes, the constitutional amendment and the extending the period of the president should not be decided by few people. What we mean by democracy, we don't mean the few to decide for the many, but we mean the government of the people by the people. So this is the time to give the people a chance to say, yes, let us decide. The first question is, do we want the president's presidential term to be extended? So referendum goes and say, yes, we want it to be. Then we go to the next referendum to say, do we then extend it? And to what period? Then it's done. So there are some issues which we are looking at and we are hoping that the constitution can give us an answer. The first point is that even if we agree that the constitution be amended, this very constitution we seek to amend, and that section is not being amended, it says the incumbent, the president in office at the moment of changing the constitution cannot benefit from such a change. That section has not been proposed to be changed, which means it remains there. So, which means if we then change the or extend the term, President Mnangagwa will not benefit. That means 2028 we still have to look towards to fight elections. Unless 2028 we are simply saying the term is not extended. What has simply been done is only extending the election period and not the term of the president in office. So if the term becomes longer because the election period has been changed, it is the advantage, it is the fruits of electoral postponement, but not a change per se. So therefore, I don't know why
Yeah.
Chief would be surprised or disappointed by what is the maneuvering which we are doing now. It is purely legal, purely constitutional, and purely ZANU-PF. And definitely, we look forward to, if the people agree, to have the president, the elections to be done in 2030. We are not saying that we extend the term. The term remains where it is. We only remove the elections from 2028 because of the reasons which will be given. And above all, Paul and Chief Svosve, we now have 90 days for each and every interested Zimbabwean to come and argue, put up his points, why you think this should be done or this should not be done. This is democracy in play. I've always said, and I'll repeat again, the only party, and Chief Svosve agrees with me, that's why I like him, the only party in the world which is democratic and very democratic is ZANU-PF. It has taken this proposal to the people. And we are a democratic party, and we are following the dictates of democracy. And our opposition is in agreement with ZANU-PF. We've got Sengezo Chabangu, who is Chief Svosve's mentor. He has come up and says, we want the president to
Uh,
be there until 2030. In actual fact, he's actually saying he wants the elections to be postponed to 2030. And all the Triple C MPs who are in parliament now, they came
no, no,
together
no, no, no.
through Chabangu and saying, let us postpone the elections. So what is being postponed now is the election and not the presidential term.
Okay, let me jump in, Chief. So before you weigh in, from what Mavaza is saying, I'm not a lawyer, but from what he's saying there's absolutely nothing wrong with ZANU PF trying to change the constitution. If anything, the constitution is just a working document. It can be amended or changed any time. So as far as the party is concerned, there is nothing absolutely wrong with changing the constitution. But going back to the point that you made earlier, you said they're trying to circumvent. There is some kind of intent behind this whole process. So maybe respond to what he's saying.
Yes, thank you very much. I think you can tell that there is confusion in ZANU PF. There is confusion in Dr. Mavaza himself. Even though he is a lawyer, he is failing here to convince the people what they are trying to do because they are not even sure what they are trying to do because they know that what they are trying to do is illegal. That's why he's hiding behind a finger, saying we are not changing the presidential term. It's not about changing the presidential term. Section 328 in our constitution is very clear. It says that any amendment to the constitution, any amendment to the Zimbabwean constitution requires a referendum if it affects the provisions related to the office of the president. This is obviously related to the office of the president because the president who is supposed to leave office in 2028 is no longer leaving office in 2028. So the constitution is very clear. They might try to run away, they might try to hide behind a finger, they might try to use semantics, but at the end of the day, what they are doing affects the people of Zimbabwe. And to show that there is confusion within ZANU PF itself, Dr. Mavaza quoted Muchangwa. I'm going to quote another ZANU PF senior official, Comrade Chinamasa, the legal secretary or the past legal secretary. By the time he made the pronouncements that I'm going to court, he was still the ZANU PF legal secretary. He was addressing people at a ZANU PF conference, and he said, can the constitution is what ZANU PF what ZANU PF is trying to do, that is the changes to the constitution, is it possible? And he answered himself and he said yes. And then he asked himself another question again, is it constitutional? And then he answered himself and he said yes. And then he said, but I told the president that it's only possible and it only becomes legal when it has gone through a referendum. Not one referendum, but two referendums. That was Comrade Mchinamasa saying that the party's, one of the party's most senior men and a legal person for that matter. So whatever Dr. Mavaza is saying here, it's a cover up. They know what they're trying to do. They know the people of Zimbabwe will never agree with them. That's why they are avoiding a referendum. If they are sure that what they are doing is in line with the will of the people, let's go to a referendum and let's see what is going to come out of there. He was talking about the 90 days that is going to be given for the debate of this, where they'll be doing what they call public consultations. There are no public consultations that will be done in the environment that is always created by ZANU PF. That when people are gathered, they are beaten up, they are chased away, they are arrested. Right now, we're trying to have a gathering to discuss the same constitutional amendments so that we prepare for the upcoming 90-day consultation. Even though we had consulted the police and the police had said, yes, that gathering was banned. So we know that this is going to be the order of the day. The people will not be allowed to go and express themselves. The people will be intimidated while they are at those hearings. Why are they doing that? They know that the people of Zimbabwe are not in sync with what they are trying to do. They also know that the people of Zimbabwe are not happy by what they've done in the past 2 terms. The people are suffering. We have potholes everywhere. People are not employed. There's no medication in hospitals. Our school system is completely collapsed. So the people of Zimbabwe know that this government doesn't deserve any extension, no matter how it is explained. It doesn't deserve any extension, even for 2 days. We don't want Emerson Mnangagwa to stay even for 2 hours after this illegal term has expired. So they can say whatever they say. Dr. Mavaza can come here and defend, but there is confusion in ZANU PF, and the people of Zimbabwe are not happy with what they are doing, and we're not going to take it lightly, and we're also not going to take it lying. The people are prepared to defend their constitution, and you will see in the next days, in the next weeks, in the next months that the people of Zimbabwe are resolute and they are going to defend their constitution.
Dr. Mavaza, what Chief Svosve is saying here, I've seen it play out. I've been to Zimbabwe. I've seen people being a little beaten up when it comes to maybe even opposition pulling off campaigns. I've seen it happen in real time. What he's saying is not something new. He's suggesting that as far as the opposition is concerned, their hands are tied behind their backs, and you're telling them to compete on a field that is not leveled. How can this go forward without having a leveled playing field so that all these people's voices can be heard, not just for the ZANU PF, but all the other opposition leaders can be allowed to exercise their God-given right to speak out freely and enlighten people about what this is all about? Your response?
Thank you very much. You see, the problem we have here is we have got a chief Svosve, who is lost in his imagination, and unfortunately, it will take time to bring him back to reality. What we are talking about, the 90 days, is not the 90 days of demonstrations. It's not the 90 days of illegal gatherings. It is the 90 days of consultative meetings where citizens are invited in stadiums, in halls, in places to discuss the amendments. And therefore, the gathering will actually be sanctioned by parliament, will be sanctioned by the government. It is not the ones where the opposition goes and sing and demonstrate. So those people we are talking about who will be
no. He's not talking about
on the roads.
He's not talking about opposition demonstrating. He's talking about people going freely to these rallies so they can hear
Just
what the
gathering,
opposition is saying.
Yes. These gatherings where we are going to discuss the amendments is an open, invited gathering for everybody to come and consult and
No,
talk and
Dr.
discuss.
Mavaza, you're getting
There
it
will be a
wrong. I'm not
team.
talking about that. I'm not talking about that. You are gathering, you are addressing rallies everywhere in the whole of Zimbabwe. But when we just said 2 days ago that we want to gather and discuss with our people what we are going to be discussing in the next 90 days, we were stopped from doing that. But how many rallies has ZANU PF had all this time?
Okay,
So that's what
I
we're
would
talking
answer that.
about. We're not talking about
Thank you so
demonstrating
much.
here.
The problem here is you had actually mixed up the issue of the constitutional amendment and consultative meetings and the rallies. But let me answer your rallies. The point here is it is very clear that we have got the ways and the laws to follow on how to gather people, on how to have a rally, on how people to come together. You need to follow that to the letter. You need to go to the police, tell them that we are going to gather tomorrow, and the police will have to assess if it is safe for you and your people where you are gathering. And if they find that it is safe, is in the best interest
Oh, that was
of
done. That
every
was done.
aspect person here, then they would allow it. I would want the chief to listen as I finish. So when we look at that poll, it is a clear issue here where people decide to break the law, to circumvent the law, so that they can then find an excuse to say we are being stopped from demonstrating. What we need now, what Zimbabwe is looking for now, what ZANU-PF is looking for now is not demonstrations, it's not rallies, it's consultative meetings. Let's go with one aim of discussing the amendments, not what they said to say, let's go with an aim of demonstrating against the amendment. You cannot demonstrate against an amendment which has not been tabled yet. It's only gazetted, and there are 90 days to discuss it, and then it goes before Parliament, and then the parliamentary process will take place. If the Parliament votes for it, and then the President puts his assent, it goes up. If the Parliament says no, it's a no. So what the opposition and the calling themselves citizens, but we know that they are citizens, yes, but opposition members. What they are doing, they are trying to start causing confusion, anarchy, and disrespect to the laws of our country so that they can try to protect. It's very funny. They are trying to protect the constitution by breaking the law, which creates the same constitution. That is not possible. And that cannot be done. We cannot create a position we cannot make a wrong thing, create a good thing. So we need to follow the laws, even if you want to protect the law. So the law, our constitution, which is the mother law, cannot be protected by breaking the law of gathering, the law of rallies, the law of convening people together. So the opposition is prepared to start a war with the laws. We are saying no, grow up, go to the consultative meeting. Let's consult. Let's discuss. Bring your points. Why do you want to go to a rally? What rally for? Unless there's a reason for that.
But
I mean,
you
if I
are
hear
doing
you
rallies
correctly,
every day. You are doing
if
rallies
I
every day. You are telling the people, you are having
No,
an opportunity to explain to the people what you are trying to do. Why are you not
I'll
giving the
give an
same
example.
opportunity to the
Chief
people of
Svosve,
Zimbabwe to gather
no,
and
let me
associate and discuss?
let me tell you where you are lost. Today, the 21st of February, it is the Youth Day, the Robert Gabriel Mugabe Day. It coincides with the birthday of our former president. So the president had gone to attend this program, and the youth were invited from all the provinces, and they met in Mashonaland East. Yes, the president spoke on behalf of the country, not of the party. But within the youth which was invited, there was the youth from the opposition who were actually putting placards and supporting their president Chabangu and saying they want the president to continue in power until the donkeys have grown horns. And that's the opposition. We didn't say that. And then we had our own members, our ZANU-PF youth, who said we agree with the opposition. Let us continue. We need continuity. I am not saying, and I can repeat this, and I will say this every day, Chief Svosve, I do not support the 2030 nonsense. I don't support that. But if it is done lawfully the way it is, we have to follow the law. I, for one, do not want the president to rule forever. I want him to follow the law. He's a constitutionalist. He said that himself. But if the people speak, we have got a listening president. And he listens to his people. And he says, if you want me to rule, as much as I don't want, I will listen to the people and continue doing the good for the country. Because what is happening now is in
That's
the best
nonsense. That's
interest of
nonsense. There's
Zimbabwe
nothing
and
like
in the
that.
best interest of our country. And
oh,
so, Paul and Chief Svosve, Zimbabwe, the issue, actually the topic which we had said we should discuss today was the war veterans who have dragged the president to court over the 2030 issue.
okay,
Yes,
let me
I
come
can
to it.
say
Let me
yes.
come to it. Let me come.
Yes.
Let me come to that. But still, I think you're trying to walk around the question. And the question was whether or not the opposition will be given opportunity to express themselves, to talk to their people, instead of being beaten up by security operatives. I think that was the point Chief Svosve was trying to make. So let's go back to the point at hand. Obviously, there are some veterans who have shown up and they have gone
No,
to court
but
to challenge.
before we go there, Paul, let me respond to something that is very misleading that Dr. Mavaza said about the opposition being present where Mr. Mnangagwa was addressing. That is not opposition. Shabangu is not opposition. The people of Zimbabwe know that Shabangu is not opposition. Shabangu is part of ZANU-PF. He is a ZANU-PF person, and everyone who is aligned to him is ZANU-PF. There is no way and at any time that he will ever be recognized as a opposition as opposition in Zimbabwe, whether in parliament or outside parliament. So the people of Zimbabwe know that. Even those that are listening right now, they agree with me that Shabangu and his people are not opposition.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. I was going to bring up the issue of some veteran leaders who have gone to court, who are trying to challenge this process. These are part of your people. These are people who have been part of the ruling party. They say what the ruling party is trying to do shouldn't be done. It's the wrong thing to do. You guys are trying to be as creative as you can get, and the outcome of it might not be a good thing for the country going forward. That's why they're challenging this thing in court. I want to hear your thoughts about why you think after nearly 50 years in power, you should be allowed to continue leading until 2030. Why can't you end your term when it's supposed to end?
Thank you very much. I need to understand one thing. You don't change a winning team. If you are doing well, the team is doing well, Zimbabwe has improved very well, our infrastructure has been rehabilitated, our roads have been rehabilitated. Yes, we had times when we had gone down as a country economically, but we have raised up through the ingenuity of President Emerson Mnangagwa. The country is now swimming in progress, and it's progressing towards a lot of prosperity, which we had not done. Actually, you'll see that Zimbabwe is the most highly fast-growing economy in Africa, not only Southern Africa, in Africa. And we are actually moving to the middle-class economy by 2030, which was the vision we have always been talking about, the 2030 vision. So, because we are moving towards such, and we are doing it for everybody to see, there is therefore no need for the party to change its leadership. But I want you to bear in mind one thing: from 1980, we are not imposing ourselves on government. From 1980, we are literally winning elections. We have won elections so much that ZANU-PF and winning becomes one. You cannot talk about winning without talking about ZANU-PF, because we have become one in winning, one in everything. We have not intimidated. We have not stolen an election. We have not stolen a vote. We have actually won in a way that sometimes we don't believe our winning, because we win so much that the opposition would pretend to be good, and when we win, they look at each other and run away. We won last time in 2023, and you know what happened, Paul? A man who was leading the opposition, who was called Chamisa, he ran away into hiding like a snake hibernating during winter, and comes out in summer now that we are going towards some other elections, and he will win. He will hide again. Opposition will be running away until they decided to say, let us join ZANU-PF, because it is a winning party. So we got these opposition gurus, opposition respected people like Chabangu and his team. They came and said, listen, we will support the party because one, it's winning. Two, it's developing the country. Three, it's leaving no one behind. And four, it's putting everybody towards. We are building our country, and we have come up with a mantra which says the country is built and prayed for by its own people. So we are doing the best. So in other words, there is no need. It's inconceivable to even imagine any other party ruling in Zimbabwe, because they cannot do what we have done. ZANU-PF has done well, and we congratulate ZANU-PF, and we are hoping to do the same. If we do elections today, we'll win. I want you to understand one thing, Paul.
Let me come in.
To correct what Chief Svosve said, ZANU-PF is not afraid
If you are not careful, Dr. Mavaza will speak forever.
No, let me just clear that point. I'll be 2 seconds. ZANU-PF is not afraid of the referendum. Neither is it afraid of the people. It is actually saying, if there is a way to go without a referendum, why do you go to the referendum? But if you wanted the referendum, you can have it and we'll still win. Because ZANU-PF has been winning so much that winning becomes part of our name.
You know, speaking about winning, there are people who have suggested that, for example, there was a guy back in the day called Joseph Stalin. Joseph Stalin used to say that you can allow all sorts of people to come and vote, but what matters is the person who controls and counts the vote. And in your particular case, you're talking about winning, but you control the voting process. You elect the people who are in charge of the vote. You control the counting process. So how can you tell us that you win when you control all those processes during the electoral process?
We don't control the process, but we are in charge of the process without controlling it. It's controlled by the people of Zimbabwe. Let me tell you.
Absolutely not. The person who counts the vote is appointed by the president. Correct?
Paul, the opposition has been in parliament for a long time. Not even one day did they come up with proposals of adjusting the electoral process. They've accepted.
But anyway, his time is up.
They are happy. So I don't know why our chief is not hearing me. I hope you are hearing me, Paul.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
The opposition had never, even one day, proposed changes to electoral rules. They actually have accepted it. So we have got the best, perfect electoral process in the world. And that's why our opposition agrees with it, even if they lose.
There is nothing like a perfect electoral body. Absolutely not. I just wanted to go back to the point that you made earlier. You talked about how Zimbabwe is doing very well. President Emerson Mnangagwa is doing remarkably well. But there are people in the opposition, people in the diaspora, people everywhere that I meet who said that things are not looking good for Zimbabwe. You have an exodus of young people. Look at both of you. You are operating outside of your country. You should be contributing to your country, but all of you are outside. You are in the diaspora. So how can you say that the economy is doing very well, the president is doing very well, and therefore you deserve another term because you've done remarkably well for Zimbabwe? When a lot of people are unemployed, you have a lot of people who are on the streets in Zimbabwe, Bulawayo, anywhere you can talk about, there is unemployment. It's visible. You can feel it. You can touch it.
Before Chief Svosve comes, I want you to understand one thing, Paul, that our diaspora is another sector of economy in the world. So being out as diaspora, we are actually working for the same country you are talking about. And the second issue, I want you to understand again that by being outside the country, the world has become a global village. You will still be working for your country even if you are outside. So we are not here because we are running away from economic problems. We are here because we are enhancing our economical screws in Zimbabwe. And I can assure you that every Zimbabwean who is in diaspora is happy to be Zimbabwean, and they are happy with President Emerson Mnangagwa, and they are happy with ZANU-PF. And I can tell you, even Chief Svosve here is happy with ZANU-PF. So you are meeting the wrong people. Those you are meeting the wrong people who are bent to destroy their own country. But Zimbabwe is doing best. Yes, you said there is nothing called a perfect electoral system. There is nothing, I agree with you, in the world except in Zimbabwe. That's why we never have opposition opposing our electoral system.
Let Chief Svosve respond to what you're saying. Chief, do you think that Zimbabwe has the best electoral systems in the world? Do you think that the economy is performing perfectly and young people are not fleeing the country, and therefore these guys deserve to be in power for the rest of their lives?
No, Dr. Mavaza and ZANU-PF are an insult to the people of Zimbabwe. Right now, he is busy insulting the people of Zimbabwe. And it makes me angry because he is playing games with the people of Zimbabwe, playing games with our lives. He thinks that people are in the diaspora because they want to be in the diaspora. We don't want to be here. We want to be in Zimbabwe. Over 5 million people, even if it is people that want to, how can half the country or almost half the country live outside its country? What kind of patriotism is that? We are outside.
Oh, we lost you. We lost you. Hello? Chief Svosve, can you hear us? Can you hear us?
I think it's frozen.
Okay.
I can respond.
As he comes back in, try to respond. He's saying that. Okay, he's back. He's back. I see him. He's back.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Finish your point. You're trying to talk about how so many young people have
how
left
Dr.
the country.
Mavaza and ZANU-PF are in. Yes, it's an insult because we are not here out of choice. We are not here because we want to be here. We are being driven out of Zimbabwe because of the massive human rights abuses by ZANU PF. People are being killed. People are being abducted every day. People are being imprisoned for nothing, arbitrarily imprisoned. So people end up running away. That's another kind of Zimbabweans that are in the diaspora. Most of them, the majority, are running away because of poverty, are running away because there are no jobs in Zimbabwe, are running away because there is nothing to do in Zimbabwe. Everyone who is in Zimbabwe right now is trying to get away. If you talk to the youth, I was listening to the youth today. There were so many youth programs. They are crying because they go to universities and they graduate, but they never get the jobs. They go to colleges, they get in the streets, they never get the jobs. And Dr. Mavaza knows that the unemployment rate in Zimbabwe is 80%. The people that are bringing income or any kind of production, if we may call it production, are from the informal sector. You know, what kind of a country is that? There are no formal jobs in Zimbabwe because there is no production that is going on. There is looting. There are people that are taking tenders of government, taking them illegally, and they produce money, they have money, and they go outside the country, they buy expensive cars, which they start to give out to people. But other than that, there is nothing that is going on. Industries that were left by Smith are the ones that are still there. Most of them have collapsed. There is nothing that ZANU PF has done. The mining sector, which is supposed to be the cornerstone of the country, it's in its doldrums right now because people are just taking minerals, they're taking the gold, and it's just being sold on the black market in Dubai and other countries. And when the money comes back, it never sees its way to the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. It goes into Chivayo's pockets, it goes into Mnangagwa's pockets, and then we have someone here come and tell the people of Zimbabwe that we are here because we want to be here. We don't want to be here. We should be in Zimbabwe. Mnangagwa has failed. The ZANU PF government has failed. So there is no reason whatsoever that they should be given another 2 years or any term extension. That is what is called failure. If you are a president or a party and you have failed to deliver in 10 years, you have failed to satisfy the needs of the people, you have failed to give your youth jobs, you have failed. There is nothing that you are going to do in 2 years that you failed to do in the past 10 years. To quote President Duma Boko from Botswana, a president himself, he said, if you see a president wanting to extend his term after being in office for 10 years, that's the definition of failure. And that is what we are seeing here. Mr. Mnangagwa and ZANU PF have failed. They have no mandate and they have no reason and they have no justification to extend their term. The people of Zimbabwe need new leaders and we need to go for elections in 2028. They don't want to go for elections in 2028 because they are afraid that they are going to lose. People are in so much poverty that no matter what they do, they know that they are going to lose that election. That he is saying here that ZANU PF always wins elections. That's a lie. Everyone knows that. The international community knows that. SADC knows that. The people of Zimbabwe know that they've always rigged elections. We have always had disputed elections. And that's the reason why we are where we are today. We have people that are suffering. We have poverty. We have looting that is going on unchecked by the president himself. So there is no reason, there is no justification whatsoever to increase Mr. Mnangagwa's term. And again, to the people of Zimbabwe that are listening here, let us say no to 2030 wherever you are. Find something that you do something, go online, talk to your people in Zimbabwe, use your groups, your community groups, your family groups, educate them that the extension of term is not an extension of anything that is good from Mr. Mnangagwa. It's an extension of the poverty. It's an extension of the looting and the the bad things that we are seeing, the human rights abuses in Zimbabwe. It's an extension of the people's suffering, and we need to stop it.
Dr. Mavaza, before you respond, I wanted to go back to the point that Chief Svosve made. He talked about something fundamental. He talked about how the intellectual balance of power has been shifting in favor for the young people in Zimbabwe. They are highly educated. On average, they have graduate degrees, PhD degrees, but these young people don't have jobs. You're talking about how the economy has empowered them. You're talking about how these young people have the ability to do things, but he's in the diaspora. So many other highly educated people have fled the country. They're looking for greener pastures because the government cannot give them jobs that can even pay their bills, right? So I wanted to go back to that point because you keep talking about how you need another extension of term because you've done remarkably well. Yet a lot of those young people that you just talked about don't see that reality. Are you living in a different world than most of these people who are complaining about how things are bad in Zimbabwe?
There are two schools of thoughts in Zimbabwe. There's a thought of an opposition which is in perpetually and internally negative. No, even if it's right, they'll just say things are wrong. And there's a progressive thought which is called ZANU-PF fresh thought. Let me tell you, ZANU-PF has actually made Zimbabweans people to be self-employed. They've created employment. People are now, our youth are working in mines. They own the mines. Not only, they don't have to be workers, they have to be employers. They're working in mines, they're working in farms, they are working in towns, they are entrepreneurs, they are selling and buying things. So they don't need to be working for an employer. They are employers themselves. So by so doing, we have 90% employment rate in Zimbabwe, which is the highest rate ever in the world, where we do not have to rely
Where are you
on a
getting that
company.
data?
We don't have to rely on a big company. We rely on ourselves. We rely on our raw materials. We rely on our mines. We rely on our rivers. We rely on our tourism and everything. So Zimbabwe is able to feed its people. If you want, go to Zimbabwe, you see the number of people who can afford beautiful, good cars. We even have some youth who make money that they can even donate cars to anybody who wants to get a car. That has never been done anywhere in the world, where people make money in their country, donate to their countrymen brand new cars, not out of pride, but out of love, to show that we can work and we can share what we have made. So yes, Zimbabweans whom we have seen outside the country, they are not there because they are running away from their country. They are there because they just want to test greener pastures. But most
I've
of them,
been to Zimbabwe a couple times,
Oh my
my friend.
God.
I've been
Oh
to
my
Zimbabwe a
God.
couple times.
yeah, you've been to the wrong place. You
No,
want to go to
no.
the
I've been
mines.
to
You
Harare.
want,
I've been to Bulawayo. I've been everywhere.
Paul, you want to go to Shurugi and in the mines. You want to go to Mazoe in the mines. You want to go into the farms. You want
But
to go
how
to the
many people are
villages.
employed in those farms? How many people are employed in those mines?
The thousands of them. Even his chief social has got a farm which he was given by ZANU-PF, and he's operating very well. His relatives are staying there and eating from that farm. So Zimbabwe has done so well. You do not listen to the opposition if you want to get the truth. You need to go on the ground. Zimbabwe has done so well in agriculture, in education system. We've got thousands of schools which have now come everywhere because we can now afford private schools. Have you ever seen a country with more private schools than public schools? Why? Because the people are now able to pay private schools. They choose private schools. Why? Because we are making money with our own raw materials, with our own minerals, with our own things. So Zimbabwe is done very well, and thanks to ZANU-PF. And that's because of that we deserve an extension. I want you to agree to understand me here. Myself personally, Chief Svosve, I do not agree with extension of the presidential term. 2 terms are okay and they're perfect. And I've always said, and I can give you this example, Paul, and Chief Svosve, I'll give you this example. If you are given 2 hours to write an exam, and you want to ask 3 hours to extend the writing of exam, it means you have failed your exam. So if anybody wants to ask a further extension to finish a project, that will be wrong. But what we are saying, while that is not right and I don't agree with it, it is not wrong for Zimbabwe to try it because there is a way to do so and we are allowed to do that. So what is happening is democratic. If we go and we lose and and 2030 wins, we support what is won. If we go there and 2030 loses, we support what is won. But what we are simply saying here is we cannot say Zimbabwe has failed. It is not a failed state. It's one of the best countries, and the people in diaspora are not there because they are running away from their country. They are there because we all believe that the grass is greener somewhere else. It's until when we get there that we realize that it's not green. We have to go back home. So if you have been to Zimbabwe, next time go with me. I'll take you to the mines. I'll take you to the farm. I'll take you to the places where you see we create our own wealth, we create our own money, we create our own Zimbabwe. We identify ourselves, we become what we are. So at the end of all this noise, Zimbabwe becomes what it is. That's what we are. We are Zimbabweans and we are better than any other country around us.
Okay, before the Chief Svosve comes in, let me give a shout out to people watching us. We seem to have an incredible audience tonight. So allow me to give a shout out to those people who are watching us. You are watching different perspectives with me, Paul and Ndiho, and we are streaming live across all social media platforms. We are on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You can also follow the full episode on Spotify and Substack. Just search for me, Paul Ndiho, or different perspectives. And if you value independent analysis like this debate we are having, please support the production of this podcast. Your donation helps us research, stream, and bring diverse voices into the space. And of course, I'm lucky to have these two gentlemen. From London, I have Dr. Masimba Mavaza, a ZANU PF member and a legal expert. And from the United States, a man who is in the diaspora is Chief Svosve. People call him by that, but his real name is Tawanda, Dzvokora, an opposition activist and a critic of the ruling party. So welcome back, guys. I think Chief Svosve, this is your turn. Take it away.
Yes, my blood boils when I hear Dr. Mavaza say the things that he's saying about the people of Zimbabwe, especially about the state of our nation. The people are suffering in Zimbabwe, and he turns a blind eye to that. The people are struggling. Everyone in Zimbabwe is struggling. And the truth of the matter is that's the reason why Dr. Mavaza himself is not living in Zimbabwe, because there is nothing there for anyone educated, even not educated. There is nothing for anyone in Zimbabwe. Those people have impoverished the country. They are looting everything. They are taking.
Go ahead. We lost you.
We've lost him because he was not saying very much. Zimbabwe is not being looted. Zimbabwe is actually being saved. So that's why he froze, because he was saying things which are frozen.
No, I'll give him a chance to finish his thought. Chief Svosve, you're saying. We lost you. You're trying to make a. Hello, Chief Svosve? The floor is yours. Yes. You're trying to make
a point.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I was saying that Mr. Mavaza and ZANU PF are the most cruel individuals and human beings or living things, if I may say so, because the people, the youth are suffering. And then he comes here and he has the audacity of saying there are some youth that have made so much money that they are giving away cars just like that. That youth is only one person. It's Chivayo, who is privileged to be getting government tenders that he doesn't, that are never flouted to all Zimbabweans, all citizens. He just gets them when he's sitting with Emerson Mnangagwa in the State House. You know, that's the only person who is benefiting from all the 53 minerals, including special minerals that Zimbabwe has. And yes, he gets the millions, and what he doesn't even know what to do with that. That's why you'll be buying people cars And it's not. We know that it's not just buying. They have been doing this as a strategy to ensure that their 2030 mantra is supported. They've been giving away cars to socialites, to the people in the diaspora, to people in Zimbabwe, so that they can those people can support them in this 2030 mantra. Just a few days ago, we saw that Chivayo was giving $200,000 to all the generals and senior army officials, and also giving them Land Cruisers. Why would a private individual, a private citizen, donate money, donate cars to army officials, to army generals? Where have you seen anything like that? Is it just kindness? Is it philanthropy? Or those people are being bought? Their silence is being bought. They are being given all those goodies and trinkets so that they don't say anything when Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF are trying to illegally change the constitution. That's what it's so obvious. We don't even have to consult a shrink or a psychologist or anyone for that matter. They are trying to buy the loyalty of the army. They know that the army is not happy, but what they don't know is those generals are just generals. The army is made up of several officials, including privates. Those people are not happy. They were promised their bonuses last year in November and December. They never got them. If they got them, they got half of them, which was just $250. Where have you seen a man who has a family of 4 or 5 being given a bonus of $250 and is earning $300? And then you think that person is happy. You think those private soldiers are happy. If you are here, you are a soldier, you are a police officer, you are a prison officer, you are listening, and you know, you are seeing what is happening. You are seeing what Chivayo is doing right now, giving your bosses luxurious cars, Land Cruisers, and $200,000 payouts, and you are not getting anything. Your family is struggling just like any other family in Zimbabwe. Then you need to be standing with the people of Zimbabwe and saying no to the 2030 mantra that we are seeing. And then as I finish, I just want again to tell Mr. Mavaza that ZANU-PF has never won elections in Zimbabwe. I know he mentioned that in 2018, they robbed the elections, they rigged the elections. President Chamisa won overwhelmingly. In 2023, President Chamisa won overwhelmingly, and the witnesses are there. SADC was a witness, the international community was a witness, other civic organizations in Zimbabwe were witnesses. And that justification that they did not win the elections in 2018, that realization is the same reason why ZANU-PF does not want a referendum done, because they know that just like they did in the yes-no vote that we had prior, that gave us this constitution that we have, that ZANU-PF dismally lost, they will lose again this one, because they know that the people of Zimbabwe are not happy. They will not be happy. Nobody will be happy with the situation in Zimbabwe right now.
Dr. Mavaza, I want you to respond.
Thank you very much. Hold
on one second. One second. Section 91 of your constitution.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Hold on one second. I said Section 91 of your constitution states that an incumbent cannot benefit from a term extension enacted during their tenure. How does your party interpret that clause in relation to this bill that they are proposing?
That's why we are saying there are consultative meetings going ahead. The Section 91 is clear. The incumbent cannot benefit from any changes of that term. But I have explained to you that we are not extending the term. We are simply seeking to postpone the election. Even though it looks like a term extension, it is entirely an election postponement. Elections are supposed to be done after every 5 years. We are simply asking to extend them by 2 years because the opposition is asking us to do so, and our president is a listening president. He's listening to his people. You must remember that the constitution does not is not made out of steel. It is made by the people for the people. But I wanted to respond again before you close that Chief Svosve is totally lost when he talks about Sir Wicknell Chivayo. Chivayo is a Zimbabwean citizen who does his work in his own way. He gets his money in his own way, and he's a man of a good heart. He then offers people money. You know, we don't have people like that in the world. He is one of a kind. When he makes money, he does not use that money to himself alone. He shares with the people of Zimbabwe. He shares with the army, the police,
including giving army
church
officers,
people, the
giving army
singers,
officers,
the
giving government officials.
opposition. He has even given the opposition. He has even given the Triple C, and even his president Chamisa got some lorries from Chivayo. We all know that. So we cannot
No,
sit
no, no, no,
here.
no.
We
That's not
cannot sit
true.
here
Please don't
and
lie.
demonize Chivayo. Chivayo is doing as a charitable job, and he's not doing it out of politics. He's doing it out of love. So we cannot mix love and politics. Let us talk about politics. In politics, I want you to know that ZANU PF has been winning elections from 1980 without stealing a
Legitimately
single
or
vote. And
illegitimately?
therefore, we are not afraid of the referendum. We are actually saying, if you want the referendum, let's go to the consultative meetings. If people say, let's go for the referendum, we go for the referendum. Don't forget one thing. Our president is the listening president. And therefore, at the moment, the constitution has not been changed. These are proposals which have been gazetted, and people have discussed them. We will see at the end of the discussions whether this will continue or not. But yes, as I have said from the beginning, and I will say it again now, I do not support the extension of the term, but there is no extension of the term. There is actually a postponement of elections. This is what we are looking at. And when that is done, we will then have to seek the changing, the amendment of the constitution later. But for now, where the president is going to benefit is the postponement of elections, which is not the amendment of the term of the tenure of the president. So therefore, the president is not baking his own cake using his own hand as firewood. He is simply listening to the people because he's listening to the president. And as I've said to you, Paul, and Chief Svosve has agreed with me again, the opposition which is in parliament, they are all together with ZANU. They are agreeing that let's postpone the elections for councillors, for MPs, and for the president. We are going to postpone the elections because the opposition is asking for it, and we are listening. We don't discriminate because you're opposition. We agree with you, and therefore, if this happens, if we happen to postpone the elections, they are only being done because the opposition had asked for that, and that will be done. And again, ZANU PF has never been afraid of elections. I want you to know one thing. ZANU PF is the party, Paul, let me finish this. Is the party which went to war to fight for one man, one vote. We
But you're
fought
taking
for
that
the
No, no,
right
no, no,
of
no, no, no. That's
election,
not
and
true. That's
therefore
not
we
true.
will stand for it.
Let me ask you, before I come to you, Chief Svosve, would ZANU PF win an election if it was free, fair, and credible, and the opposition's hands are not tied behind their backs?
ZANU PF has won elections from 1980, which were all free
I want
and
a yes
fair.
or no. I want a yes or no answer.
ZANU PF will win. It has always won. It will win. It will win. Yes, 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 yes. It will
Okay.
win. And
Okay.
Svosve knows
Right.
that.
Let me get a Chief Svosve to weigh in. You have the final word.
So, Dr. Mavaza, you are here, misinforming the people of Zimbabwe. You keep saying there's an opposition leader somewhere who is in agreement with this madness that we are seeing. The official opposition leader is President Nelson Chamisa. He won 3 million votes in the 2018 elections, and he garnered more than 23 million votes in the 2023 elections, and you rigged that election. That person has pronounced that he is against the 2030 mantra or 2030 nonsense. It's on record. He has said he doesn't support that. He is the only opposition leader that is known by the people of Zimbabwe, not your creation, not your stooge that you are working with. That one is not an opposition leader. So please stop referring Shabangu as an opposition leader. I shouldn't even be mentioning his name. That man is the man who you should be listening to. He is saying no to 2030. And the people that voted for him and more and other Zimbabweans, and including ZANU PF people, they are saying, we are saying no to 2030, whether it's an extension of the term or it's a postponement of the election. The constitution is very clear. It says section 328, anything that has to do with the term of the president has to go through a referendum. Anything that touches the office of the president with regards to his term, it has to go to a referendum. If you are confident, if you know that you have the support of the people, if you know that you are not subverting the will of the people, if you know that the people of Zimbabwe agree with you, why are you afraid of a referendum? And why are you trying to run away from elections in 2028? You know you are going to lose those elections, as you have lost elections in 2018, 2023, and even the years before. You have always been rigging elections. The problem in Zimbabwe has always been a problem of legitimacy on the part of ZANU PF, because we have always had disputed elections because of your rigging. And it's even going to be worse now. In your proposal, you are proposing that you are going to disband the independent electoral commission, and you want the Register General to be running elections, something that we ran away from. The elections were, it was even worse when elections were being run by the Register General, even though ZEC has not been independent, has not been partial, but you're taking the elections back there. That's not what the people of Zimbabwe want. The people of Zimbabwe said no back then.
That's not progress.
When the constitution was changed. And now you are taking them back to something that they voted against. So this is not going to flow. And as I want him to respond to this. And I want you to respond to my question, Dr. Mavaza.
Okay,
2 days ago, we were supposed to have a meeting. Opposition civic leaders were supposed to have a meeting to discuss the same way that ZANU PF is discussing in its meetings and rallies how we are going to approach the 90-day period, so that we tell the people what's going on. You guys have been getting an opportunity to address. You have had rallies in Manicaland, you have had rallies in Matabeleland, you have had rallies in Harare, you have had rallies everywhere. And you are getting an opportunity to explain to people what you are trying to do. When the people of Zimbabwe want to just gather and explain to the people what is going on, we are arrested. Those meetings are banned. So we are already starting this on a wrong note. And we know that the people are going to be intimidated during those public consultative meetings. They will not get a chance to speak. There will be CIOs there. There will be some who even be blocked from attending. I'm telling you, we are going to come back to this platform and we'll be talking about people being beaten up while it's attending those consultative meetings, because ZANU PF is afraid. That's the truth.
Okay, let me answer your question and then...
and keep it very brief. Keep it very brief.
Thank you very much. In short, the opposition, Chief Svosve, you cannot donate to us your member, who is Chabang, who is your president, who is the leader of opposition in parliament, and we all know that. But let's leave it for a minute. Secondly, you do not come together and have a meeting without following the procedure. There is a procedure if you want to have a gathering. We had never had
followed that procedure.
What was happening
procedure
in Manicaland with Tungwarara and others? it was not a rally. It was a development gathering where Tungwarara was gathering people and give some presidential development. That was not for ZANU-PF, that was for Zimbabweans. So every Zimbabwean was invited to that meeting where Tungwarara was addressing. And when he went overboard, when he wanted to turn into politics, he was stopped completely because he was not following what he'd asked for. And we're the same way our Central Committee member Tagirei had a meeting in Epworth. It was a development meeting to develop people, to improve people's lives. That was not a rally. And so we had not yet started having rallies. If we are having rallies, we follow the procedure. If the opposition wants to have rallies, they must follow the procedure. And you have talked about one man who is the opposition leader,
let's
and
end
you
it there,
believe that
gentlemen.
his name is Chamisa. As I learned, Chamisa had run away from politics because he lost. He's afraid of losing. He's a typical dictator who ran away into hiding. He's trying to come out now, but he will not succeed. So you cannot blame ZANU-PF for winning when your leaders are running away and hiding and ask for help from Kivayo, from their hiding place, and only come out when we are towards the elections. So in conclusion, wherever you are as a Zimbabwean, this is your time, these 90 days, to come and voice out. If you don't want 2030, say it out in these 90 days. You will not be intimidated, you won't be arrested, you won't be beaten. Zimbabwe is very free. President Mnangagwa is a listening president, and he respects people's rights, and we know that our rights are being respected. That's why we've got opposition in Zimbabwe. That's why it's the most peaceful country in the world, and the most democratic party, as I've said, is ZANU-PF. And I want to invite you all to come together as we discuss.
Okay, very briefly, is Chamisa running away? So Chief Swati, this is your last word.
No, Chamisa has never run away from anything. In fact, he was almost killed 3 times. They almost executed him in Mutare, somewhere in Gweru, in Midlands. He is a person who has always been pursued by ZANU-PF. So he has never run away, and he's not running away, and he's speaking very boldly about what ZANU-PF is trying to do. And as I finish, the people of Zimbabwe, let's stand up. I know it's difficult. You'll be operating under very difficult circumstances, but it is important that we all go to those public meetings and speak out. Let's not be afraid. Let's not be stopped from speaking our minds. Let's speak out. And there are also some petitions that are going on. If you're in the diaspora, you can't be in Zimbabwe. Make sure you sign those petitions. Those who can take to the streets, there's no one who can stop you from demonstrating in London, in the streets of Washington, in Europe, in Australia, in Middle East, in South Africa. Let's all go and speak out and let the world know that we are against these constitutional amendments.
Unfortunately, gentlemen, I wish I could have you for an extra hour. We've run out of time. Thank you both for being great guests. I loved the conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zimbabwe. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Chief Svosve.
Stick around for a minute. I'm going to close out, but you guys stick around. Thanks to my special guests, Dr. Masimba Mavaza, Tawanda Dzvokora, and of course, those viewers who are sending those messages to us, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. If you appreciate independent journalism and debate, support Ndiho Media, follow us on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Spotify, and Substack. Or feel free to share, subscribe, and you can also donate to keep this platform going. I am Paul Ndiho. This is Different Perspectives. Good night and so long from Washington.